Folks, this is the True American Podcast. As you know, why I call it the True American? Because it is named after an abolitionist newspaper. The founder of that newspaper was Cassius M. Clay, not the boxer, the abolitionist, the Republican, and absolutely remarkable human being. And I personally would have been proud to have carried his name if given, particularly if it was given to me by my parents, because he is one remarkable individual, and he was a true American. Today we're having with us Matt Singleton. This brother is running Board of Education, District 5. As you know, folks, I've done a lot of interviews, different people about the Board of Education. I've got some serious concerns about some of the things that's happening there at the board. And those concerns, I believe, are nonpartisan, very, very nonpartisan. I mean, who does it benefit if our children aren't getting the best possible education? Who does it benefit if it doesn't? It helps everybody if our children, black and white, are graduating at math and reading level, at the proper math and reading level. I mean, that just needs to happen. And unfortunately, at the time, it's not happening. Disproportionately, it's not happening with black students. But there's some general issues. So we're going to talk to Brother Matt about the issues he feels that are important facing the Board of Education, what he wants to do about them, and why he believes his opponent, Linda Duncan, needs to be sort of voted out of office. Brother, run with it, man. Give me a couple of issues you think that are important.
Okay, there are 4 issues I run on to kind of keep it simple. 2 yeses and 2 nos. We want to say yes to raising standardized test scores. We want to say no to indoctrination. We want to say yes to school safety, and we want to say no to reckless spending. Now, when I talk about the standardized test scores, I know that you've had on the show Richard Inez, who kind of is an expert in that field, goes over it. Also, both of us have this advantage. We were both, Corbin and I are tutors, and we get to see what's really happening in the school system because we're helping kids who need help and are not being helped by the school system often enough. So the fellow I work for at the Way of Wisdom Learning Center, he did some studies, and he found that most of the high school kids graduating from Jefferson County are about 2 to 3 years behind. Okay. There was one school where less than a dozen people graduated from the graduating class at grade level.
Let me stop you right there. Yeah. 2 to 3 years behind.
Yeah.
Graduating not at grade level.
Yeah.
How in the devil how is that going to help us here in Kentucky to attract more businesses? How's it going to help us here in Kentucky in filling the number of skilled labor positions that's needed? I mean, is that some of your thinking there or what? Maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a pastor, and a lady at my church was a teacher, and she told me that it's a glorified daycare. Okay. That basically the whole money and all that behind it is the fact that parents need the schools to take care of their kids while they're at work. And so they take advantage of that fact, and then they fudge the numbers to make it feel like everything's okay. But then when they use the standardized testing, the measuring stick, then it shows where they're really at, where they're really going. I'll tell you a quick story. I was taking a brother and sister and tutoring them, and I was so proud they got most improved in their classes. So the teachers are recognizing these kids are ahead of the others, or at least getting ahead of the others. Now, that being said, I then was tutoring one of them, and they had math to do. And so I was tutoring them in math, and I noticed, I asked him, I was like, what grade are you in? Because I'm getting all sorts of ages of kids constantly in that job. And he was like, well, I'm going in the 5th grade. And I went to get the math, and the math was at 3rd grade level.
Mm.
And this was the kid who was doing good. Okay, this is kind of like an example of how the system is working, and it's very scary. You know, a lot of them have come from these broken homes. They've already got enough against them, and then you want to secretly steal their future. I remember that there was an incident in my life that happened when I was part of an environmental science, diploma, and it was called the Environmental Tech Prep Program, and we took chemistry. And the chemistry teacher admitted that she wasn't a chemistry teacher, she was a math teacher. And that when she went to school, she never took chemistry. But later on, the program added chemistry. So the school system said, that's good enough, we're not going to look for a chemistry teacher. She taught that course. I got a B+, and then I was failing freshman year of Campbellsville in the category of chemistry.
Wow.
You know. And this is how they do it.
Now, you said your 4-point plan. One of them is
yes.
that you want to raise the standardized tests. What did you say about standardized tests again? Repeat
we want to
it.
raise up those scores. We want to get them back to normal.
Right.
Okay. And there's a elementary school. Richard Ennis talks about it a lot. I hope I don't mispronounce it, but I believe it was Goose Rock Elementary over in Pike County.
Okay.
And the testing that was going on there was just as low as what we've been experiencing in Jefferson County. And by the way, after the shutdown, the scores were abysmal. Okay. The African American scores went from like 18 to 14 to 4% because of that shutdown. And then the difference between the black kids and the white kids is about 15 points. Okay, that means, you know, and I tested this with an African American church, and I said, look, is it acceptable that 33% of the African American kids coming out of elementary school, only that many can read and write? Is that acceptable to you? And they said no. I said, guess what? I just swerved you. That was the white kids.
Wow.
You know, so these are it's horrible all around. If you just want to have the equal score of the white kids, you're failing. You know, that's what they have to realize. But also this, we're paying more bang for less buck because they just raised up the taxes. In our property tax, they raised them up 9%. Next year, they plan on raising it 4 more percent. We had $18,000 per student. If you go out in the counties, the county just below us, it's $6,000 per student, and that goes to their education. But in Jefferson County, $8,000 goes to the student, then $10,000 goes to the student, as in buildings and busing. Okay, massive amounts of money that are being taken and juggled around and have nothing to do with education. They want to make 3 new school buildings with no improvement of education. They want to have their magic buses. They want to have their Taj Mahal, okay? But they don't want to actually educate your kid. They just wanted to take the money and then use that as an excuse for companies that might be kind of paying off during the campaigns. That's what's going on.
You know, if this was if you're talking about a private company, you know, a private company said, well, we're going to sell you a bag of nuts. And every time I'm buying a bag of nuts from them, I'm finding rocks and pieces of metal in it. And then they say, oh, well, we're going to raise the price on that bag of nuts. I said, well, dude, you go ahead and raise the price all you want, but I'll be tagging on if I'm going to buy your nuts anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to go to somebody else. There's no way I would put up. It's a bad product, or it could be a bad service, and then you want to add injury to insult by saying, we're going to raise the price.
Yeah. For instance, as a reward for this incredible improvement, All right, the superintendent, Marty Polio, he's getting the big bucks. Now, I'd say somewhere, I don't want to be, try to give you a perfect number, but, and be wrong or something, but somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000 a year.
For what?
He's getting paid because he's done so good.
Wait a minute. He's getting paid $600,000-$700,000?
Yeah.
Holy cow. How do you get his job, man? I mean, what do you got to do? Oh, my
Well, not only
Lord.
that, but everybody's saying, don't question him. Okay. I've seen Democrats and Republicans doing this. They're like, don't question him. I'm like, well, hold on. The school board is supposed to be his boss.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to fire the guy, but I will tell you this. Come January, if I get elected, he's got some homework.
I hear that. Go over your program again. I like the way you did that. Yay, nay, the 4 points. State the 4 points again.
Let's do that, and I'll try to hit the ones I forgot. So we say yes to raising standardized test scores.
Okay.
We say no to the indoctrination. Okay. What these kids are being taught are really usually these left-wing political values, usually these anti-religious sentiments. Okay. When they talk about, let's get some real history in there. Do you know that the kids in our system right now have no idea that Abraham Lincoln was born in Kentucky?
Mm.
Wow. They lose massive amounts of historical knowledge. And then, I've actually been confronted by teacher activists, okay, and they will tell me that America was founded in 1619.
Wow.
Now, they say that because they say, well, the first African slave was in 1619. Even though the Indians had all the slaves too, even though the Africans had the slaves, even though the Europeans had the slaves, every culture had slaves, but just because one was, taken there, hold on. What about the fact that that's not even America? How about the fact that that was just British property?
Yes.
Okay. Has nothing to do with America. And they probably might not have heard about Thomas Jefferson protesting the British Empire, saying, we do not want the slave, the slave trade in the Virginia colony. Right. They made up a rule, and the king knocked it down, King George III, because they would lose too much money. That's what Jefferson's actually about. And they said, well, he owned slaves. And that actually is a lot more complicated story. But essentially, they're not getting this stuff. They're getting an agenda that says, once we make you stupid and poor, we will give you a scapegoat. Blame it on them. Don't blame it on us who are not getting you proper reading, proper math, proper science. Okay? It's the other guy. It kind of reminds
long ago.
It reminds me of the Fraser Crane, the character on Cheers. They said, I'm going to make a T-shirt. It's not my fault. It's the other guy. I don't know about the psychological foundations, but it sells.
Right. Let's go to your third. Your third point was yes to discipline. Am I getting that right?
No, I think it was yes to school safety.
Okay, yes to school.
Said no to indoctrination. Yes to school safety. There have been a massive amount of incidences, some particularly colorful. We remember when a teenager was shot to death, and some elementary school kids were shot at, and a couple of them got dinged and stuff at their bus stop. And there was another shooting at a bus stop a couple months later. And then there was a girl who got raped between 6th and 7th period over in Fern Creek. And essentially, these are just, the things that pop out, but this is going on constantly. Mostly in my district, there have been 20,000, over the last 5 years, 20,000 incidents of school bullying. If I'm wrong, it's 40,000, but I believe it's 20,000 incidents of school bullying.
Wow. That's a lot.
And so
it's a battlefield, man.
Well, and if you talk to the teachers, they'll tell you that they're not sending these kids home. They just say, well, we'll put them in another room or something. And what happens is that teachers and students are at risk because some of these kids have gone nuts. And honestly, I can understand them going nuts because there is nothing of value that they're getting there. And they're simply, go into this box, go into that room, go into that room, keep your mask on, all that kind of stuff of everything that was going on. And they just keep it up.
But so what do you want? What do you want seen done? You want them to be suspended? Because I know at one point there was a complaint about suspensions because they said it was racist. It was disproportionately hitting black students, and so they needed to do something else, which I got the impression was that something else did not include suspensions, getting your butt kicked out of school.
Well, as far as parents are concerned, I'd remind them of Proverbs that says, "He who spareth the rod hateth his son." Okay? Discipline is a gift from God. Believe me, we have that nature to go nuts, and when discipline's involved, then we get focused, then our minds can go clear, then we can learn, then we can be better people. But as far as the schools are concerned, if you're going to have these Zoom classes, why don't we use the Zoom as an alternative? If you can't function in the school, you can Zoom at home, and then you can get your education out.
Okay, all right. And your last one was, now, it was talking about the tax increase. Now, I was at a meeting not too long ago, and someone, I think he's running for the board of education, position on the board, and he claimed he got a statement asking him if he supported unbridled tax return. In other words, however much money we want in the form of increased taxes, will you support it? It was like a blank check, the way he described it. And I was thinking to myself, I would never give anybody a blank check. Mm-hmm. Unless you just Bill Gates,
Well, and simply put, the idea of the teachers' union is problematic. Now, let me give you an example. If we're talking about working for, let's say we work for the Ford plant or something like that, you would have a union who would work to say we want proper wages, but you would have the budget of the money that's coming in, and you'd have to deal out that. So it would balance itself out.
Right. But
when you have a government union, then the idea is we want more money, raise taxes. Just raise them. Just keep on raising them.
Right.
And there's no accountability. And, the love of money is the root of all evil. It corrupts the heart. And so some of this stuff happens that way. But also this. You have a lot of people who are making a massive amount of money who aren't really doing the work. The people at the bottom who are doing the work, all of a sudden they get the lower wage. All of a sudden they have to pay for their, for the school books and some of the kids that they're teaching. Why, when there's billions of dollars up top, are they still not able to do so at the bottom? One idea I'm playing with, okay, I haven't got it worked out, but an idea that I'm playing with is a Robin Hood policy. In other words, we reward the workers who are teaching the kids instead of giving all this money to bureaucrats. Wow. Because that's what happened. We're rewarding bureaucracy instead of rewarding hard labor. And that is what you need, because here's the fact. The government is not a business. Okay? The government takes money. A business makes money. Even when they're doing work, they're actually just doing something to justify making money instead of actually making a profit. Because there is no accountability to that company.
Right. You mean in the company? You mean is the
So a lot of people and a lot of our Democrat friends, they really want that. They want to have it to where you don't have the rich guy at the top and equal things out. Well, I don't think that's the way a business should run. But the government, The government can run that way. You don't have to have some dictator take all your money.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we got to wrap this up, but before we do, I want you to tell us very clearly where people can go to get a little bit more information about you, where people can go to donate to your campaign, and where people can go if they want you to come speak before their organization.
All right. So I've got a Facebook page right now. It's MJ Singleton, District 5 School Board JCPS. And I'm pretty sure if you get it close enough to that, it's MJ Singleton, but MJ Singleton, District 5 School Board JCPS, you can find what's going on, some different articles that we've either cited or written. And basically, you can get a hold of me. And I'm going to I'm fine with this. We're going to a small office anyway. My number is 502-380-7368.
Okay.
And so from there, we can talk about things. If you want to donate to my campaign, that's fine. We'll make it happen. Right now, I'm establishing a foundation when it comes to getting people involved, I'm a minister, getting people praying. That's what I really care about. And getting people out there, talking to real people, going door to door. Okay. We're going to start moving here pretty soon. And this district is going to be covered with advertisements for my campaign. And also, hopefully, we'll get to talk to some people as we're doing that and really talk about what's going on. Because I'll tell you what, it's not about the dollars. It's about the votes. And ultimately, it's about the heart of God, that God controls the hearts of the kings. That's what the Bible says. Mm-hmm. And so we can have revival and we can stop evil. I'm not saying we have to get God into the public schools, but we better get the devil out.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, that's it. You just heard from Matt Singleton. He's running for the Board of Education in District 5. You just received information how you can get in touch with him. Facebook page, MJ Singleton. I think he's right. If you put that in there, it will come up. It will come up, and then you'll clearly see that's his Facebook page. Be in touch with him. Make sure you make a contribution. Connect with him. If you want him to come speak before your organization, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to do that. Your organization, fraternity, sorority, church, whatever it might be, because he's dead.
Also, since we're talking about taxes, any of y'all realtors out there, I know that you get hit hard by the private property taxes. So, we want to talk about that.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Yes, it's real important, folks. Bottom line, get in touch with this brother. Connect with this brother. Man, we gotta do this again soon sometime.
Yeah. And it's a never-ending pothole as far as the problems that are going on with the school system. We didn't even get on to some of the wicked things like what's going on in those school libraries and all that stuff. Of course, you have, though, on your show, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But so it's an ongoing saga right now. But you know what? Our kids are worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Brother, keep in touch with me, okay?
All right. God bless you.